She ain't gave me the green light. Now it's time to take flight. Let's go.
Cause I'm out the ordinary. 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 Alright, y'all. X off the beat.
Welcome to SOULutions, where men come out the shadows to testify, giving tips in manhood, honor the codes of integrity, and give out real solutions for soul survival. Today, we have on the show a Renaissance man of the arts and creativity, an empath, a man who has searched for tranquil spiritual balance, a manifester, a master farmer, and spreading joy in his circumstances. Please welcome the author, singer, motivational speaker, voiceover actor, businessman, and so much more, Mr. Chinua Hawk.
I appreciate the crowd noise, man.
You know, you gotta have it. And the crowd, how you feeling today?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. You know, it's been like I think like everybody, a bit of a tough time, ups and downs mentally, you know, and but I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, that empath nature for all of us as human beings kicks in when there's too much atrocities going around the world. It should kick in for
sure.
you. Absolutely. Are you ready to drop these gems and answer these questions today?
I'm gonna give it my best. I'm gonna give it my best, sir.
Okay, here we go. What person did you meet or see that gave you the drive towards the man you are today? Who or what defined you?
Ooh. What person did I meet or see? I should ask you these questions ahead of time. You know, I would have to, I don't think I could assign it to one person. You know, I think there are several people at different stages in my life, you know, that defined or helped define who I am. So one of the people I would have to give credit to is one of my grandfathers, you know, and actually both of my grandfathers really, because they both were very hardworking men and had really big families to take care of, and they did it without complaining. And so I watched my parents got divorced when I was pretty young, you know, and my mother married my stepfather probably about, I guess, a few years after her divorce, you know, and he was another one, a hard worker, but quiet, you know, but just a hard worker. So I kind of learned by example if there's something that I wanted to do, that I had to work hard at it. And I had to understand that it might not be easy, but that doesn't mean that I don't do it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Oh,
you
yes.
know? And even, you know, just throughout my career, you know, I don't come from a family of musicians or people that are in the arts. There's a couple of people here and there. So imagine, you know, all of a sudden you got this kid that's into the arts and nobody knows what to do with him. You know, no one knows how to direct him. So there were a lot of things I had to figure out on my own. But, you know, the thing about it is that the people, the adults in my life, my parents, they never discouraged me to say like, oh, that's not normal. You can't do that. They didn't know how to help me do the things that I do. But I learned from example, just like, hey, I have to figure it out. And either I can quit and just go do what people consider to be the normal thing, or I can stay focused on the vision that was given to me and figure out how to build it.
You are a perfect example of why I do this show. It's for the basic levels of instruction that can be applied at any time to achieve any goal. The term hard work is all you needed to go figure something out. Just the actions of hard work, the actions of discipline over motivation. Do it when you don't feel like doing it. Those are the things that resonate with me when people reach a different level of success, if you want to call it success, or just adding the next brick to your house that you're building for yourself. Along these goals that you were trying to figure things out, did you have a vision board?
Yes and no. I used to make a lot of notes. I used to write in notebooks, or once I started using I'm a little older than you. Once I started using computers, I started typing out ideas. I would sit and just dream about things that I wanted to do, and I would write them down. I still do that to this day. I still do that as I'm working on new dreams and things, and still finding new ways to push myself.
If you can give us your best vision success that you've had that come true that you've written down, and the one that you're chasing now. So I want Apex one that you achieved and Apex one you are chasing.
I think for me, it's really everything but my music career, because I came into the industry as a kid that just had this pure relationship with music. I just wanted to sing, and I knew that getting a record deal was I thought was the vehicle to get me there. And so in my mind, it's like, okay, you write great songs, you sing great songs, and you go and you pitch them, and it happens. And so I didn't understand how I would be looked at because I was overweight. I didn't understand what I was going to face once I started reaching out and going to industry meetings, and the way people perceived me, the way they looked at me. And I remember one meeting, I had one person she asked me to stand up, this executive, and she said, okay, now turn around. And I'm standing like, what are we doing? And I'm turning around, and she's just looking me up and down, up and down. And then she said, okay, thank you, goodbye. And found out later, the conversation was, oh, he's not going to be attractive, or he's not going to be this, he's not going to be that. But my vision was so strong, right? I didn't let those people stop me from what I wanted to do, because I knew that I had something special. And I knew that these people that are in these meetings that I'm seeing, they're not the people that go to concerts. They're not the people that buy music. They just get paid to make money for the company. And if they see something they think it doesn't make money, they're not interested. It's not about anything other than that for them. So what I did was, which is what I've always done, is I found my own way to do it. And for me, that started performing at colleges and universities, and eventually, man, I was touring 230 days a year, just traveling all over, driving all over the United States, performing every night at all these different colleges, and the response was amazing. I started building a fan base. People started knowing my music. People started, just getting excited. And all of that was after these people told me no. Mm-hmm. Because the people that I was getting, they weren't concerned with how I looked. They were concerned with how they felt. Because my intention was always, when you come into my concert, and my intention is still the same to this day, I'm trying to create space for you away from your stress and your worries and what's going on in the world. I'm trying to, let's just have a moment, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, where we can just say, you know what, we can just breathe, we can laugh, we can, and I want them to walk out feeling lighter than they did when they came in. And so for me, I've carried that with me my whole life. And so the next thing, and I don't like to use the term like that I'm chasing anything.
Manifesting? Manifesting?
Yeah. Because, if you're chasing, you never catch it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I like to say I'm manifesting, or I'm building.
Building, yes.
And yeah. So for me, this new stage I'm building as a voiceover artist and as an author, I had this vision of this children's book, and man, it just came to me, literally. Yeah. It came to me out of nowhere, and here I am, having done that book, and now that I'm getting ready to release the next 3, and doing meditations and things like that I've been creating and putting online for people to use for free, just because we need that. So it's I don't know if I'm answering your question good enough, because I'm down.
No. This is a great answer. I hear that your music career was a challenge for you to fulfill your dreams. So you got on the road and you did the groundwork. And what's so amazing about the groundwork, those executives don't know what it's like to touch the actual people. Like you said, they
No.
make money, but however, from you doing that work gave you more an advancement of knowledge and information that no data, no computer system could ever calculate. People's
Yes.
emotions and feelings change at the drop of a dime. And sometimes
Yes.
as maestros or MCs or singers, we have access to that DNA sample that can change how people feel on the inside and out. So I think that's
Yeah.
special. And also
man.
taking a look at the preview of Mr. Brumley, I enjoyed it and I thought it was awesome. And
Thank
I
you.
am looking forward to the other 3 editions.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you. And just one other thing I'm gonna say about the music that I did mention was, I don't know if you know that I live in Dubai now,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So wait, are you in Dubai?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we didn't talk about that, did we?
No, we did not.
Okay, all right. For some reason, I was thinking you would somewhere else. But anyway, how amazing is it, right?
Right.
That our gifts and our talents have got us here in this amazing place.
Yes.
And every step that I've taken with music has taken me to countries that I probably would have never gone to.
Right.
So if I would have given up when those people told me I wasn't attractive or I was too fat or I sweat too much when I sang, all those things that they were saying at the time, if I would have listened to that, I probably wouldn't be living up to my full potential right now.
And there's all those subjective things that they don't understand the culture of beauty, which the culture has come from. And some cultures, being a little corpulent, is the best way of love. Some
I like the way
cultures,
you put that.
yeah, it's just some certain things are more relevant than others, and it is subjective. So you got to find your people, and you found your people, and there's nothing wrong with that. So here you are, out on the road, traveling to these different colleges. They screaming your name, Chinua, we love you. More crowd noise. But what type of affirmations were you telling yourself?
Back then, I wasn't really using affirmations. I think back then when I used to perform, right, it was always a giving thing. I would perform to the point of exhaustion, and I would leave completely drained. And it took me years before I really understood that this thing had to be balanced. So now when I go to perform, I set the intention and I tell the audience, hey, we're going to have an even exchange of love. I'm going to give you some love and you're going to give me some love. So then I don't leave exhausted, having poured out every single thing and trying to figure out how to refill my cup before the next performance. It's just this easy give and take. That's how I see it now. But for the most part, like over the years, there was no affirmation, but you couldn't tell me that I wasn't supposed to do what I was doing. It was just an undenying truth that I just had from when I was a small kid. And, people would ask me, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I would say a singer. And that was before I knew I could sing. It was just something I just knew on the inside. And, yeah, that's what I spent my life working on.
So here we are. You're a young man. Everybody says, what are you going to be? I'm going to be a singer. Some people say fireman. Some people say president of the United States. But however, here you are. Now tell me in totality, let's fast forward to where you are today, living in Dubai. You're still following and manifesting and building your dream. What is now renowned about you after traveling to all these countries, downloading all this data, all these frequencies from different people, reciprocity back and forth from the audience and yourself? What can you say is renowned about you?
I don't know when you say renowned, what do you mean?
The fermentation, the full circumference of who you are right now. What has been built so far? What is the product right now? Where are you now?
I am in the middle of evolving into the next version of me, the 5.0 version. So I've been, through each different stage of my life evolving, and I'm just getting to meet this new person now, because I just turned 50 in March. And so
Congratulations.
thank you. And I was wondering, I said, okay, who is the 50-year-old me? Who is he? What's he about? You know?
Hmm.
And I'm learning that this new version of me is not afraid to say what I think, and also not afraid to say no to things that I don't feel serve me. I'm also not afraid to remove myself from situations where the energy doesn't feel right. Because a lot of times I would put myself in situations because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
I put everyone's feelings before my own, and so I decided. I said, okay, I think that part of my life is done. And I have a new song. It's funny because I wrote about it, and the song is called Boundaries.
Right.
And um, and that's what the song is talking about. Like it's good to honor people, but not to the point where you're dishonoring yourself. You know.
That's the thing about being renowned is basically focused. It's supposed to be an outside definition of what people think of you. But I like to ask
Hmm.
people, what do you think of yourself? What is known
Right.
and talked about you at this moment?
Yeah. I mean, okay, go ahead.
Of you. From your perspective, is many
Hmm.
times we don't stop and say, what do I think about me? We have so
Hmm.
many judgments of people around us, how things made us feel, but what part did I play in me actually achieving this energy that I have around me now?
Okay, so let me tell you this. So at one point in my life, I had gotten up to my highest weight was 505 pounds, right? And it was such a struggle to just get up in the morning, like just a struggle to go on stage, to perform, all of those things. And through a lot of depression and anxiety, that's where the weight just kept coming and coming and coming, you know? And so I recently looked at an old picture of myself. I made a side by side picture of where I am now versus where I was then, and I put them together. And someone asked me, they were like, "Man, when you look at the way you used to be, like, are you embarrassed by that? Do you feel sad when you look at that?" And I thought about it for a second, and I looked at it and I said, "Okay, the guy, the bigger picture of me was on the left, and I described him as that guy." And I said, you know what? I said, when I look at that guy, I don't feel sad looking at him because I see someone that didn't give up. I see someone that was so strong mentally, even though he didn't know he was back then, to continue to do the things that he was doing and to continue to keep moving. And I told him, I said, when I look at that guy, I'm grateful for him because it's because of him that I get to be me right now, because he didn't give up no matter what. I mean, if you can imagine getting to the point where your mother is so worried about you, when you wake up, the first thing you do is call her just to let you know that you're awake, because she's afraid you might die in your sleep
Right.
because of you. So imagine, living like that, the embarrassment of having a trainer not being able to fit in the gym equipment, but ignoring the stairs, like the mental capacity that you have to go through that and keep pushing through. I didn't understand it then. I didn't think I had it. I thought I was weak. So when I think about myself now, I think about myself in terms of how strong I have been and all the things that I have overcome to get to where I am today.
When you watch some of the greatest comebacks in sports, it's not interesting unless you're down by 40 points first. So for you to appreciate the man on the left is the whole circumference of and totality of what the comeback looks like.
Yeah.
It's not great unless there is a moment of I have to stop this emotional eating. I have to put
Right.
this down and no one is coming to save my emotions but me. I have
Yeah.
to regulate
Yeah.
myself. I'm a person
Mm-hmm.
who gives out energy. Everybody thinks I'm okay all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm not okay. Let me eat this food. This food makes me feel good. This is comforting.
Right.
And I'm talking about
Yeah.
me,
Right.
right? So I
Yeah.
understand exactly where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly where you might wake up in your sleep from a snore and did I stop breathing for a second?
Right. Right.
And here we are. You now looked at the left and said, I'm going right and I'm going to make myself right. There are any books that you read that might have helped you develop yourself to where you were
Um, I'm, man, it's been so many things, but this is probably the funniest thing. Oprah Winfrey, right? When I was coming up, she always talked about her weight struggles. And it used to draw me in to her because she was so open and honest about it. And when I think back, I said she probably did it because she knew people were already talking about it.
going?
And so she wanted to take ownership of it and address it herself. And so she used to write these books. She had this one called Make the Connection about, working out and all these things. So I used to snatch up all that little anything she put about weight loss and dealing with your emotions, all that stuff. I used to pick it up. But there's a bunch of books that I read, but the main thing for me was actually when I started meditating.
Mm.
And once I started meditating and really getting to know myself as a higher being and not just this physical body, and understand that I was bigger than this, that's when things started to click in a different way for me. So really, it was more of that than anything else that helped me change. And I'm not saying I don't still go through my, depression things some days, and I'm just coming out of a bout of that, But I've learned how to, even when I'm going through that, I've learned how to still keep moving and still keep working through it, still keep getting things done.
Absolutely.
Because
I'm
Yeah,
listening.
because the big thing for me is on the other side of it. I don't want to have the regret of, oh man, this last 5 months, I didn't get anything done. I didn't do anything. Now I got to play catch up. Now I'm stressed again because I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And recently, I will say this, because I realized I was getting complacent and I needed to do something to challenge myself. And so I was talking to one of my cousins, and he's a workout guy. He never had any weight issues or anything like that. But he understands, the depression and things like that because he's dealt with those things too. And so he encouraged me. He's like, you need to find something to do. Because I already work out with my trainer and do certain things. And I was like, I need to do something that I don't want to do. And so I said, okay, I know the one thing I don't want to do is walking up steps. So I live on the 22nd floor. So I decided, I said, okay, I'm gonna walk the steps every day for 30 days, no breaks, right? So just 12 flights, not even all 22. I said, I'm gonna start with 12 flights. And that's what I did. I did it every single day. I posted about it on TikTok to keep myself accountable, you know?
Yeah, they got to.
Hated it. I hated it every single day. Every single day. But what I started noticing was I was regaining control over my mind. It wasn't even about losing more weight. It wasn't about like the cardio health. It was about the activity of making myself and committing to that thing I knew I didn't want to do.
And you had control. You regained control.
Yeah. And it made everything else easier
As
because all the other things that I really didn't want to do weren't so bad after all. you know?
I can resonate with that. I recently did a watermelon fast. So I only had watermelon.
Ah. Oh wow. How was that?
It was it was great. At the same time, I wanted to enjoy what everyone else was doing, and I had to regain control of myself. I've only did it
Yeah.
for 6 days. Watermelon straight for 6 days. I lost about 17, 19 pounds, was about 8 kg for those listening in Dubai. And it was so difficult on day 4 and 5 because people were going out. They want to go to the Cheesecake Factory. They want to do this. And I had to sit with my commitment. I posted online to make sure I stay committed to my watermelon. And it wasn't about the food. It was about my consistency to think that when I go out, I'm supposed to have this. I had to break that consistency, break that thing in my mind so I can regain control. And I thought that was excellent the way you put that. So here we are. You're now done these college tours. You traveled around the world. You're giving out reciprocity. You're coming down on your weight. Constant battles with depression. We all have things we fight with daily and try to find recipes to take it down. Through that all, what did you sacrifice?
Hmm. Wow. I mean, the biggest sacrifice I would say is family, you know. Um, yeah, that's the biggest sacrifice, missing, certain events, missing the growth. Yeah, I think that's the biggest sacrifice. Yeah,
Being a new flagship is difficult.
it is.
Going out to be, we're gonna charter this new land, and then there's no one there that you know, no one there who
Hmm.
knows you that can speak to you, give you a hug and that you needed.
Yeah.
And I want to circle back to meditation, and I've done meditation before. For those who are listening, can you tell us how you felt the first time you really got into it? I don't want to know the things you saw, but the feeling I know when I first got into it, I saw so many things come at me that
Hmm.
I haven't even knew I thought about. What was that feeling like for you?
The first time, well, first of all, going into it, I I thought that I wouldn't be able to do it.
Mm,
Like, and this is what most people tell me when we talk about it, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do it. And it wasn't until the person that was I was with told me, they said, stop trying to clear your mind.
mm,
That's why you can't do it, because you spend the whole time trying to still your mind, and really you just need to be in a state of just allowing. When the thoughts come, let them come. Don't try to stop them. Don't try to figure out what they mean. Just let them come, let them go, let them go. And so when I did that, all of a sudden, I remember like things just got quiet. And it was almost like, if you can imagine, floating in outer space.
mm.
And I remember having the thought, like, I'm here. Whoa.
Whoa.
It was a peaceful feeling, like I could never really describe.
Mm.
There's this complete peace. And I got to the point where I could meditate for like 2 hours and I wouldn't even realize that 2 hours had gone by.
Oh, that's great.
And so I actually had to start setting timers for myself, because I think I was starting to get addicted to that space, and I just wanted to be in that space all the time. And it's like, it's good to be in that space, but you got to be in real life too, you know.
I love your dedication to discipline and consistency. All I hear is a man who may deal with his struggles like everyone else, but I hear the fact that you have access to discipline and consistency regardless what your grandfathers taught you, what your mom showed you. That is a key foundational piece that you have. I
Yes,
want to know
yes.
about your lowest moment. Now, I just don't want to know about your lowest moment. I want to know how you got up. This is for the people who may be listening on how you got up. You decided one day, and when you decide, you kill one side. What did you do to get out of your lowest moment? Was it the meditation? Did you how did you do it?
It literally, so my lowest moment, we already talked about, was me being 500 pounds.
Correct.
That literally was my lowest space. And during that time, I always had pockets of, okay, let me hire this trainer. Let me work with this trainer. Okay, let me go to this, let me try this diet, or let me get my friends together. We're gonna go walking. It was always something I was trying. And and then I would have my moments, of course, where I would get so down, and I would stop trying it all. You know, but I think the main thing for me was that I just knew that there was something more for me to do here, and I wasn't supposed to allow myself to lay down and die.
Right.
And so I just had this desire, man, to keep trying. And while I was trying, I kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the depression was getting stronger. I was getting more anxiety. I mean, like, if you can imagine being so big, where everything, when you wake up, everything in your life is dictated by your weight.
Mm.
if someone's asking you to come to their house and I've never been to their house, I would, most times if I hadn't been, I would decline because I didn't know what kind of chairs they had. I wouldn't know if their chairs were big enough to fit me or strong enough to hold me. You know, like these are things I had to consider. Like I had a stool I kept in my car just in case I got somewhere and there was nowhere I could sit. I knew that stool could hold me. So imagine you're managing your life like this around, everything is managed around that. It's exhausting, you know? And so in that space, when my health started to get even worse, and I had been doing, all the things that I thought I could do, and I started looking into bariatric surgery, right? Which was not something that I ever wanted to do. But I felt like I was on this place of like, okay, either I'm gonna I have to do something drastic, or I'm not gonna make it. And so I started researching doctors, started researching different surgeries and things. And so I decided to get this gastric sleeve, you know. And at the time, I wasn't touring, I didn't have any money. And I'm just like, okay, well, how am I gonna do this? So I found this doctor. He happened to be in Mexico. And he's actually one of the top surgeons for this surgery, you know. And so I mentioned to a few people, I'm going to go to Mexico to have this surgery. And people say, oh, you don't want to go to Mexico? Don't go to Mexico. And nobody's considering like, oh, this guy's trying to save his life. You know, they're like, oh, no, don't go to Mexico. You don't go out of the country. It's like, well, okay, but in the country, it's $200,000, $70,000, $80,000 is the lowest amount for this surgery. Right. In Mexico, it's $10,000.
Right.
You know, and he's like almost the #1 surgeon in the world for this. So I made a decision, and I remember I just left it open. I said, okay, if this is meant to be, I know everything I need to pay for this. Everything I need is going to come. And guess what? It just started coming. Left, right. Everything started coming. Money started coming, you know? People were calling me to do things. I had this schedule, and I looked at the schedule. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do all these performances. I don't know how I'm going to do it physically.
Cup runneth over.
Your cup
runneth over.
But I was just like, okay, we're going to take them one at a time. And that's what we did. Took them one at a time, you know? Had the money. I went and had the surgery. And, but this is the part I'm getting at, why I'm leading to this. So because I had such a strong addiction with food, and I've been using food to cover emotions for so many years, right? Before the surgery, the doctor said, I want you to go on a liquid diet for 5 weeks, because he needed me to lose a certain amount of weight before the surgery. And the reason for that was so my liver would shrink and it would make the surgery safer. So I knew this a couple months in advance. And so I kept trying to start this liquid diet, kept trying to start, and I couldn't. But there was a point when it's like, okay, you got to start here or you're not going to make it. But I had ended up gaining 30 pounds during the time I was trying to start the diet. So by the time I got to the dead date where you have to do it, I did it, but I only lost the weight that I gained. I didn't lose the weight that the doctor told me. So I was so scared when I got to Mexico. I thought he's going to turn me around, blah, 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 but he didn't. So I had the surgery. So this is the main part I'm getting to. After the surgery, I couldn't cheat. See, before I still had my full stomach, but after the surgery, I could not eat anything but liquids. I couldn't, there was nothing, like no physical food that I could physically eat. So because of that, all of the emotions I had been covering up, like all of the fears, the doubts and the disappointments, the feelings of abandonment, like everything that I had been stuffing down with food, man, it all started rising to the top. And I couldn't do anything about it. And I was in the house by myself. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. And I literally was just in there, like, it just felt like and almost, if I could describe it, like sitting in the middle of the darkest cloud you can think of. You can't see any light anywhere. And so people were calling and checking on me. I wasn't responding. And I had this one lady, I used to call her my Georgia mama. She used to come and help me out, and she had a key to my house. And so she kept calling me, and she would leave a message, "Hey, baby, I'm just checking on you, and I wouldn't respond. So it was one day I was sitting in the living room and I heard a car in the driveway, and I looked out and it was her. I
Don't
was like,
play
oh
with
God.
Georgia, mama. Don't play.
Yeah, she was not playing. And so, and it wouldn't shock me if my own mother called her and told her to come
Yeah,
to
yeah,
my house.
yeah, yeah.
I got up and I remember I rushed down the hallway and I got in my bed and I pulled the covers up over my head because I wanted to pretend like I was sleeping, you know?
Mhm.
And I heard the key come in the door. I heard her open and she walking in, baby, baby, where are you? And I acting like I'm waking up, like, huh? Hey, oh yeah, I was sleeping, because I was so miserable. And so I went through this for 30 days. And what I realize now is I was going through withdrawal,
Right.
chemical addiction for the sugar and all the things. I didn't understand that now, but it was like not just the feelings, but it was also withdrawal. So on the last day, that 30th day, man, it was like literally like the clouds just went away.
Right.
The addictions were gone. Sugar didn't move me. I could look at a candy bar in a grocery store. I had no desire for it, nothing, you know?
I understand.
And somebody warned me. They said, once you get rid of it, don't let it back in.
Yeah, don't let it back in. Listen, oh boy.
But I did.
But I did. It's okay.
Because I thought I had control.
Like life is a roller coaster, and I don't think we should just get rid of things completely. However, many people will disagree because sugar is probably the worst thing on the planet. Probably the worst thing for our system on the planet. However, let's indulge in a controlled fashion. I gave up meat for
Okay.
3 years, and one day I saw a piece of chicken that had my name on it, and I have not been back since. I have to, it's just certain things that you have a space for everything.
Right.
And thank you for sharing that with us. So let's go ahead and shake that off right now. Let's get rid of all these clouds.
Yeah,
We're going to come to
definitely.
the best parts of the interview where we have a little bit more fun and talk community. Right.
Okay.
But I want to thank you for sharing that with us. There's someone out there who is dealing with it. You're talking to someone right now who deals with that. I'm one of you. I am a person who emotionally eats. And I found what I've done for those who've listening. I still emotionally eat, but I choose different foods to emotionally eat. Maybe I'll throw back some grapes. Maybe I'll throw back some pineapples. What healthy food could I throw back down could I eat cauliflower rice instead of regular rice? I'm making adjustments within my decision making till I grow to another place where I can give it up altogether.
Do you do the frozen grapes?
I don't do frozen grapes. I just love regular grapes with seeds, man. I'm addicted.
Have you tried them though?
No, I haven't tried. I got to give them a try.
Yeah, it's like eating a piece of candy.
I gotta give them a try. You heard it here. Frozen grapes, we gotta give them a try. Should there be a basic training program amongst men, like a level of education, straight giving back to the community? I'm talking about financial literacy, communication, like changing the tire, gardening, general wealth building, elderly counseling, making sure that we use the elderly in our futures and not let them be in old folks' homes. However, create situations where houses next door, they're teaching different stuff that they learned in life. Do you think we could ever, as a community, where we come from, can have our own basic level of education outside of church, outside of the school, outside of any government entity? This is our neighborhood. This is what we do.
I think so. I think you are actually helping with that by doing this, giving us a space to talk and be honest about the things that happen in our lives. Because a lot of times, I think as men, we don't like to talk about the emotional side of things, or to sit and say like, hey, I was in tears, I was crying about this, or I was crying about, like, no, a lot of people don't want to hear that, or they don't want to share it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you be man up.
Yeah.
But I think that all those things you mentioned are important, but I think this other side is equally important, because unless we have that space where we can talk and be honest, this is why I think a lot of men like deal with their emotions in a negative way, because there's not a lot of avenues to express it. So it comes out in anger, or it comes out in sometimes in substance abuse in some people. It comes out in a lot of different ways. And so I think like a part of like everything that you mentioned is also just counseling and having like those safe spaces where we can talk open and honestly. And I think that also we have to stop being so suspicious of each other. Like the trust level in our community between us is not great. And I think it's just because of things that we were taught, you know. And I think just as a community, we need to break those barriers down. And granted, in every community, there's people you can't trust, but some of us have an idea that is based on what others think of us. And it's just like, hey, sometimes it takes just sitting and having a conversation before you understand where each other's coming from. Like I'll use an example, like being here in Dubai, right? I have never in my life been around so many African people from Africa. So many of my friends are Ghanaian, Nigerian here, and we've had some really incredible conversations. And one of the things, like I've asked them, I said, growing up, like, what was your view of, you know, Black people from America? Like, what did you think of us? You know, and so those conversations sparked some really great thoughts, and a lot of what I was told was like, well, basically what we knew was like from movies, drug dealers, thugs, you know, scammers, lazy, all those things. And so I told them, I said, okay, I said, now from our point of view, I said the way we were taught, what we were shown was that, okay, y'all didn't have no food, orphans and, all these things. I said, but all of these misconceptions we had of each other just take conversation, because all these things are propelled by other people. And I said, we have to understand, like, yeah, we've had different experiences, but we are the same people, you know? And until we can, just take the time to communicate and understand each other's struggles, and understand that a lot of our struggles are very, very similar, instead of sitting in judgment about who I think they are, who they think I am, that kind of thing, like nothing will change. And so I know I just went a little further out than
No,
where
no,
you
no, no, no. You touching
question.
on something that I want to add on. I think this is my opinion. This is coming from my perspective.
Mhm.
I believe in order for us to build trust, we have to value one word: access. So many people get jealous of each other, watch someone saying, why is this person getting these blessings and I'm not? But you have access to them. And that's what
Mhm.
people who are jealous, or people who have problems with trust or lack of communication, use the fact that you have access. If you have access to the person you see being blessed, go speak to them and learn what they're doing. There are intricate things that people do that you don't know about that help them get the blessings and the stuff they are desire, or is God given. And once you
Right.
figure out the access, now you can determine what you need to access in yourself to receive the blessings you want. So I think access is the problem. Like with communication in our community, with trust, because you could be next to a person and the person would be like, oh, they're getting all these blessings. Why I'm not getting it? Go ask them.
Mhm.
You have,
But
the blessing is that you know them.
right, right. Well, the root of that jealousy, right, comes from us believing that it's not enough to go around.
Right.
But you think about, especially from the American standpoint, right? We feel like, oh, there's only so many spaces for Black faces. There's only, and so when people are carrying that mentality, then it's like, oh, I'm not trying to join you. I'm trying to take what you got because I want that space.
Yeah.
So until we understand that there's enough resources in the world for all of us, that's going to still exist.
And I'm gonna say one more thing. This might be a little controversial. We have to be
Uh-oh.
more biased.
Hmm.
If we have someone who owns something and you see, I'll give me an example. You see a reporter or a journalist who happens to be from the same culture, I'm gonna give that guy a shot. He might not be as professional. He might not have everything that the other tools have or the backing, but I need to bring this person forward. We should start springboarding our culture when we're in position to do so, unapologetically.
Yeah, I mean, every other community does that.
Yes.
Every other community that I see, especially like, I've seen it in America, but I see it more so here in Dubai.
Mhm.
And I see how, like, the different cultures, like their mentality is, we move
Mhm.
together.
Right.
We make it together. We set the space for the next generation, to be productive in the world. And it is our responsibility. I think they take it on as their responsibility for their people, And not saying you're shutting anybody out, and not saying that at all. But I understand what you're saying, and but that whole mentality of, there's not enough spaces.
Yeah. That not enough
That-
spaces, and we need to
That's
take
stubborn.
one word out of vocabulary. Qualified.
Right.
Because so many other cultures don't use qualified. There's so many unqualified people in positions that were given to them from the hard
Right.
works of others that put them in place, say, learn how to do this. This will
Yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah.
We think, oh, we need a qualified person already. No, we just need to put a person there who has the hard work of Shinhwa's grandfather to move forward and do what needs to be done. Let me ask you a couple rapid questions real quick before I get you out of here, all right? Now, you
Okay.
have to answer. You have to pick one. It's the fun of the part of the pod where you have to pick
Okay.
one no matter what it is, no matter what the question is. You have to pick one and tell us why. Are you ready?
Okay.
As a husband, I'm going to put you as a husband right now. Would you rather have a great woman or a great wife?
I would rather have a great wife.
Explain.
When I think about a wife, I think about someone that is like, this might sound old fashioned, but a helpmate, like a partner, like someone that's gonna support you while you're out, trying to build the things that you're building for your family. Um, but does that mean she's not a great woman? That's a tricky question.
It's not. It's all about what you desire. There's no wrong
I feel
answer.
like I feel like a wife encompasses like, she's the heart of the family. She's the heart of the home, of the children, of everything. Like, she's the center, I feel like. And I feel like, as long as the center is good, you're free to go out and build what you need to build, because you got that, that center there.
You're talking about order.
I
I
think.
get it. The order, our order's a little bit construed these days, but like the basic level of order has never changed, and that's the most successful thing that we have. But so many of us don't know that recipe right now. Many of us
Right,
want to
right.
change positions, be topsy-turvy, when this world is not designed for certain people to get that far. You need a partner. You need someone around you to help you alleviate some of the things so you can actually have the recipe for success.
Right, right.
When it comes to relationships, now listen to this one. This is a good one. When it comes to relationships, would you rather settle with someone or be settled for someone? Would you rather
Whoa.
settle with someone or settle for someone?
Wait, settle with someone or settle for someone?
Yes.
Or you said be settled for, someone settling for me.
Yes. Would you rather settle with someone or someone settle for you?
Nah, I'd rather be
Settle.
by myself. I don't want to be settled for, and I don't want to settle. Yeah, nah. Because you know what? Eventually it's a road that's gonna lead to problems. And so what's the point? For temporary comfort, like to lead, that's gonna lead to pain that's gonna last for I don't know how long, depending on who the one is that's settled.
Right.
You know.
Hey, I'm just listening. I just want to hear what your perspective is. If they were giving out awards, would you rather have Father of the Year or Man of the Year?
I think I would rather, I'm not a father, but I think I would rather have Father of the Year.
Explain.
Because I feel like the job. So I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and they're like my kids anyway. That's the way I look at them, and so what I enjoy is I enjoy watching the adults that they became, and now they have children of their own. and I'm enjoying watching their children grow up. And it's just like, you have the opportunity to affect the world by how you teach children,
Right.
by how the wisdom you impart in their lives. So for me, that's the bigger reward, because long after you're gone, that keeps going. Man of the year, they'll forget about you, but those lessons you impart will always continue.
I don't disagree with any of that. Many of us are fathers to kids we haven't fathered, but that
Right.
doesn't mean that we're not the father of that community of wisdom and knowledge and understanding.
For sure.
I want to do a poll. Now, I spoke to several women about this, but I want to hear what the men have to say. What are the
Okay.
top 3 things you want in a woman? The criteria. I'm always looking for one word to see if a man says it. I'll tell you what my thought is after you give your answers, but the top 3 things you want in a woman.
Top 3 things. I would say independence. I would say intelligence.
Ooh.
And I would say just self-assuredness.
Ooh. Hey, listen. I'm going to ring the bell because that's probably the best 3 we've heard in this whole podcast series. Intelligence is the word I've always tell people they need to have in there. You want a intelligent woman. And
Right.
what you said about self-awareness and self-assuredness, the river doesn't flow if she doesn't feel good about herself.
Right.
Everything stops. It's like a poison ivy everywhere. If not just a woman, not just to blame a woman, if a person in a relationship does not love themselves, it is poison ivy everywhere.
100%. 100%. Yes.
I got a couple more questions and I'm gonna get you out of here. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go into something that many of us are used, but we don't want to be misused. However, it happens. What do you do when you're someone's preparation, but not their destination?
What do I do?
If you're giving advice to someone, what do you do when you're someone's preparation, but not their destination?
That I think the answer to that depends on your intention. Are you giving that advice because you want to receive something, or are you giving it because you want to see them fly? So I think the answer is in the intention. For me, if I give you some advice and you take it and you run with it and you are successful, I'm happy to see that. If you never acknowledge it, if you never come back and say thank you, it's okay. Now, I wasn't like that years ago. I'd have been like, oh man, this so-and-so didn't even, Right. But the reality is like, okay, well then what was my intention? Was my intention because I needed that acknowledgement? Like I needed it to make me feel good or make me feel like I had a bunch of wisdom, or what, what was it in me that needed that so bad? And I tell the younger musicians and things that I meet, and I tell them, I said, listen, compliments are wonderful things. Wonderful things. We all want to hear good things about ourselves. I said, but you got to remember, those compliments don't belong to you. They belong to the person that said it. And at any moment, they can change their mind and they can take it back. I said, so if you're living on that and you're living for that, then you're setting yourself up for pain. Same thing. It's all about intention. Everything is intention.
Intention. That was beautiful. Thank you for saying that. It's all about intention. I came up with something called operating at 100%. And what I mean by that is I took 5 things and divided them into 20% each. Purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge. Again, that's purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge. Now, in order for you to walk forward when operating at 100%, you got to give yourself a weekly and daily grade. So when you go back and research how well you did for the week, you were living at a C+ or A-. Now, depending on how hard you are on yourself, the difficulty rating will be set by you, and you'll know if you're a procrastinator or a person who really pushes hard. So I'm going to ask you, within the last 24 hours, Mr. Chinua, how much out of 100% have you been operating out of? We have 20% for purpose, 20% for health, 20% for confidence, 20% for money. Whether you made a little money, saved a little money, invested a little money, knowledge, whether you read some information, got some new information, health, did you work out, confidence, did you do it confidently, purpose, did you live in your purpose? So Mr. Chinua, let's start with purpose. Out of 20% of purpose, how much did you operate?
I would say 20%.
20% on purpose. He is tired. He is running, doing what he has to do. On health, 20%. How much did you operate out of?
I'm gonna go ahead and hit that 20% on that too.
Yeah, he's back in these streets with the 20%. And confidence, 20%. How did you do? Confidently. No fear, no doubt. You had to have pure, unadulterated confidence to do what you do. You know, it comes to you like the back of your hand.
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to give myself 20% on that too.
Okay.
Because literally, like everything that I've done in my life, I didn't know how to do it. I just jumped in and I figured it out on the way. You know, and even now with things, I'm jumping in and I'm just like, okay, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it happen.
That is a great way to look at confidence. Those listening, you hear the way he looked at confidence. There's a certain way you look at confidence and what you define it to be, which is very interesting. Now we're gonna get to money, investment, saving, spent money, spent too much money. How are we doing out of 20%?
Ooh, now if we're saying spent too much money, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'll get like 10, 15.
10 or 15. You got to make a decision. You got to be.
But okay, wait. So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When I say spent too much money, if I'm spending it though on necessary career things,
that turns into an investment.
That turns into an investment,
but which has not manifested yet. So are we in the negative or are we in the positive?
So saying that,
yeah.
I would
because remember, it's only the last 24 hours. So if it was a net of investment throughout the whole totality, then you saw where it came out the gray, whether it was ROI, return on investment. But if it's within the last 24, there's no ROI. So it's kind of like it's not a negative, but it has not manifested. It has not built yet. So it could be going against your points. If you want to angle yourself in that type of structure, that's up to you.
All right, I'm just gonna go in the middle. I'm gonna go 10%.
10%. And now knowledge. Did you take in some new information, learn something new within the last 24 hours that'll help you grow as a person? Out of 20%.
In the last 24 hours.
Yes, sir.
The last 24 hours. I'm trying to think of the last 24. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is learn something new. You know, they're doing this Dubai Mallathon thing, right?
Yes.
So I went yesterday.
All right.
Yeah, they're doing it every day for the month of August.
Yes.
And I went about 6:45 in the morning yesterday and got there and everybody was, stretching. And so I started stretching and warming up and everything, and so then they gave us the instruction. Everybody started running. I started running. And then I realized 30 seconds, like, I'm not supposed to be running. My body's not set up for running. I came here to walk, but I started running because everybody else was running. And what I realized in that moment was like, okay, I can try to keep running and not go as far as I could, or I can slow down and get in my lane and take it all the way. And so that's what I did. And I was the only walker. So it was a little bit, at first I was a little embarrassed, like, man, I'm the only one out here walking. Everybody else is running.
Out there.
I put my headphones on and I put actually one of my own songs in my ear. This song I have is called Golden. And it's just it's a really positive message in the song, and it's a house music, so it had a nice tempo. So I was like, okay, it's got a good beat. I can walk to this tempo. But in that song, there's the bridge, and I say, now you're controlling all of your emotions when you want to burn it down all the way to the ground. But you've been through the fire, you swam through the floods, but after all your sweat and tears, you're never giving up. And so that was what I kept listening to on repeat as I kept walking, right? I kept listening to this like, okay, never give him, okay, I could do one more lap. never give it up. I can do one more lap, you know? So I guess if I say I learned anything, I learned a little more about my resilience,
Hey. How many
you
points
know?
would you give resilience out of 20?
I would give it a whole 20. I would
No,
give it a
you
whole
can't give resilience out of the whole 20. Well, you know what? That's what you want to do. I'll give it to you. That's 90%. So you're operating at 90% out of 100. So when you look back at your life and you look at these things, if you do a daily inventory of what you got going on in your life, you could say, well, at least yesterday I did well, and we'll see
Right.
today. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I designed that, and I'm gonna put a book out about it so people can follow it. It's operating at 100%, and you're
Love it.
operating at 90%, and I think that's awesome. Thank you, sir. You are now part of the Silhouette Boys Club. It is people like you that help people like me shine when you come out of the shadows, and we appreciate it. Now, before you go, we love to get referrals for the show. Is there anyone else you would love to see me interview to come on this show and answer these questions? Excuse me.
Yes. There's a couple of people. There is you might know him, Dante Kennedy.
Dante
You know him?
Kennedy. Yes, I'm a famous musician in Dubai. Let's go, Dante Kennedy.
Yeah, Dante has done a lot of amazing things here, and it takes a lot of guts, as you know, to leave your country and go somewhere new and start building a whole new, you know, career, new life.
Yes.
So there's him. Why am I drawing a blank right now? There's like two more people. I just can't think of names right now, but I'll tell you
Yeah.
offline.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Now, got to tell the people who are listening where we can find your music, we can find your new book venture, where we can find you when you're out in Dubai doing these beautiful songs and jazz nights and all these things that you do. Please tell us more about you, because first we like to focus on the man, but now we would love to hear about the person and what you do for a living.
Okay, so yeah, so you can find me every week performing. Usually everything is on my website, which is chinuahawk.com.
Yes.
And so you can find my schedule where I'm performing. Like every Friday, I'm at this place in DIFC called 1920. I have an incredible band that plays with me there. We have a really good time. So if you're free, come on out on Fridays. We start at 9:30 and we finish at 11 or 11:30, I think. But it's a fun night. It really is. But you did the whole schedule. So anything about books and where to find my meditations, and then those are free if you need to use them. Those are like all those links are on my website, chinuahawk.com. So that's the road to lead you to everything about me and everywhere I am.
I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Thank you for giving us the time. It's been an honor and pleasure. I learned so much from speaking with you today. For those of you listening, you can reach out to SOULutions4Men@gmail.com to be a guest on the show, or Sheem1 on all platforms. Let's have this conversation. Let's push this narrative a little further. Before we go, we love to end a quote from Dr. Miles Monroe. Anything else, Shinwa, you want to say to the people before I give this quote?
Just don't give up on yourself. You know, even if it just feels like everything is, you know, just too much, the weight is so heavy on your shoulders and you feel like you can't do anything. I tell people all the time, the way to move through it is to, when you have the energy, pick the smallest thing you can do and do that one small thing. And that might be enough for the day, but it's a step. And every day, if you keep doing that, you just keep building on it a little more and a little more. Just whatever you do, just don't allow yourself to just lay there and give up.
Absolutely. Remember, you will never change anything that you are willing to tolerate. Here's the quote for Dr. Miles Monroe. True success is not measured by how much you have done or accomplished. It's not compared to what others have done or accomplished. True success is what you have done compared to what you could have done. In other words, living to the maximum is competing with yourself. It's living up to your own standards and capabilities. Success is sacrificing your own personal passion and purpose in pursuit of personal excellence. So, question of the day, question of your life. Are you maximizing your life? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sheem1. Shinwa, thank you so much. Make sure you go check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and blessings.